Here we are, headed off to the car wash, get the old winter car cleaned up. I'm lucky at this point in my life. I'm able to have two cars. So I've got my Mercedes C320, which is a W203 or a CL203, which just means it's a 2003 C-Class, but it's a sport coupe, so a two-door instead of four-door, which is the more common. That one's also a V6 3.2 liter 6-speed manual. So it's pretty rare in that style of car, as most of them were 4-cylinder compressors, which is yeah, like I said, the more common. And then my daily driver, which I just got in October, is this car here, which is a 2007 BMW 530xi. So that's an E60 V6 3 liter all-wheel drive. Perfect car for daily driving. Big, comfortable sedan, lots of room to fit all my stuff, whether it's the dog, family, shred gear, you name it, it all fits. The only downfall of this car is that the back seats don't fold down, which to me is absolutely insane, especially in North America or damn anywhere. So I can't put a bike in here without taking both wheels off, which is dumb. But I learned that after the fact. So live and learn, but that's what we got other cars for. So I'm going to take this car, the BMW, get it all cleaned up. I already got the wheels to the Mercedes cleaned up, and I've actually just posted them for sale as I have my eyes on something else. So yeah, so I'll go get this car cleaned up. It's a nice sunny day. It is freezing, but make the most of it. Take advantage of a day off and take care of the toys. So here it is, all cleaned up. I didn't really take into account that it's like minus 10 degrees out right now. I don't know why I thought it was warmer, but I realized that once I was actually cleaning it off. So this is my 2007 BMW E60 all-wheel drive in current winter mode. So it's got 18-inch winter wheels on it. It's a sweet little machine, gets me around. It's been an amazing car thus far, and yeah, I love everything about it. And I've got some special stuff coming for it as it gets closer to spring. So this is still my daily, so it's not going to be crazy slammed or anything like that. It will be lower, and I do have 20-inch OZ Ultra Ligera HLT wheels for it, black, that I picked up late fall, and so looking forward to getting those all on. Woo! I am not gonna lie, that is completely wild how friggin' cold it is out there. Like, I know it says it's only -9 actually, but good lord. In that wind, it is, well, I gotta say it's -1,000,000. So anyways, I just took some pictures at my go-to favorite spot in the area, which will remain unsaid. Just super neat, futuristic looking area. So I just took some pictures here after we got all cleaned up. And now we'll just take her on home. I go through the garage. It's gonna be freezing in there too. I might delay that. But in the meantime, why don't I just share a little bit about my experience with cars, what got me into them, and where I'm at today with it. So I think my passion for cars really started, I'd say probably around 13 or 14 years old. Now, I've always really enjoyed motorbikes because we had them up at our family cottage, and I like stuff and machinery and tools and gadgets and bikes and like stuff like that. I like stuff. And you know, maybe that's why I was a goalie in hockey, because I loved all the equipment. I just like playing with stuff, more or less. And around 13, 14, some of my buddies that were a little bit older were getting into modified cars. And there's just something about it that really caught my attention. It was a mix of like the creativity aspect and creating your own, you know, kind of machine, and also like how cool and like the power and the speed and like the freedom that came with being able to drive, and also like having some pride in what you've built. So it kind of started around then. I had some friends who were building mini trucks. I used to read all the magazines, and once I was lucky in high school, actually. My parents, I would let me drive their cars. I didn't have my own car, but they always let me drive their cars often to school. And my dad had this really nice Cadillac Eldorado. It was a 2-door silver with like the fake black convertible top. And I paid to get the windows tinted just to be make it a little bit customized. And that was really neat to me. I really enjoyed driving that. And yeah, it was a great time. The first car I ever purchased on my own would have been in 1999. I purchased a 1991 Volkswagen Golf 4-door, so an MK3, I can't remember. Anyways, I'll post a picture of it. And it was 4-door, 5-speed, and that thing, was, we had some fun in that thing. So that's the car I actually drove across the country to move out west with me and a friend, loaded it to the gills. Like there was not you couldn't fit a sock in this thing. Like we were 2 guys moving out west for good, and this thing was rammed. And we had one little, halfway across the country, we blew a alternator belt. So we got that fixed, but aside from that, got us across the country and set us kind of in motion for our trip while we were out there, because we had to commute every day up to the actual mountain. I was just reminded the other day by a friend who came out to visit, shout out to Johnny, about my windshield wiper. I broke a windshield wiper, so there was a duration of time, well, a long duration of time, that the passenger windshield wiper was just a mitt onto the arm of where the wiper would go. So it would be a mitt just kind of wiping off the passenger side. There was also an instance where it was so cold out there that my roommate borrowed my car, slammed the door, and the back window of the hatch blew out. So yeah, so that thing had some fun and excitement with it. So I had that, celebrated year 2000 with that thing. And it was a good little car, didn't modify it at all because, well, I hadn't had a chance yet, and I'd just driven across the country and had no money. Once I came back at the end of the season back to Ontario, I decided to put it up for sale and got rid of it. The next car I purchased, now don't hold this against me, this was for a commuter. I was commuting to a job in Toronto. I was the national sales manager for a very brief time for a footwear company, and I needed a car to commute with. So a friend of the family had a dealership, anyways, bought a Plymouth Breeze, or a Dodge Stratus. It was a Plymouth version, but the Plymouth Breeze in green. It was a great little car, actually, mid-size car. Very comfortable, drove really well, except for at about 3 months of ownership on my way commuting home, the engine blew. And I continued to drive it the rest of the way home with it knocking louder than the stereo could cover the sound. And anyways, the engine blew. And after some issues, whether it was whoever's fault it was, they actually gave me my money back completely on the car. I'd had an oil change done by a big chain of oil change places, and I don't know how they resolved it, but after a few months of me being without a car, they resolved it. They actually gave me a loaner car to drive in the meantime, and it was a Dodge Neon with the price in big neon letters written across the windshield, so I drove that for a few months, which was crazy. Anyways, after that, I then in 2001 purchased a brand new Nissan Sentra. It's my first brand new car I've ever owned. 5-speed, 1.8 liter, so almost the base model. Not the base model, but almost the base model. And it was awesome for me. First brand new car, loved it, reliable, and I got to modding it right away. So I did, well, first things first, coilovers. Then I did a full body kit, an R34 GTR body kit. Now, remember, this is 2001. So full GTR body kit. I can't even remember how many different sets of wheels, but I had 17s, 18s, 19s, all on it over time. 2 different carbon hoods I went through. And I did basically, I did full SER interior swap. I had TV in it, Xbox in it. subwoofers. I basically did every single modification for aftermarket part that they made at that point in time I owned. So I had the pulleys for it, intake, header, like literally everything I could buy off the shelf I had done to it. It was a show car more than anything, and I loved it. It was my first real venture into like fully modifying, customizing a car, and yeah, it was an awesome car. I owned that until 2005-ish. But yeah, an amazing car. While I had that car, I was able to get my hands on a R32 Skyline GTS-T Type M. So that would have been around 2000, well, it would have been 2005 when I bought that. So I bought that with 68,000 kilometers on it. RB20, single turbo, rear wheel drive, with a GTR front bumper. And that thing was obviously pretty rare at that time. Nobody really had them. It was just after the 15-year importation rules came into play. So it was able to be imported into Canada. Man, did I ever love that car. And it turned heads. I did suspension, wheels. I had GTR wheels for a bit. Then I did some aftermarket staggered wheels. I had carbon hood, exhaust, things like that. Nothing major. Blow-off valve, basic bolt-ons. But it was a super fun car. One of the lame things about it is that R32s have high cast, which means rear wheel steering or all-wheel steering. So when it was, you know, trying to drift it and stuff like that, it kind of sucked. So I got a high cast lockout bar, which made it nice and fun to slide around. I had a lot of fun in that. Probably drove it way too fast. I have lots of stories in that car that I won't talk about on here, but I loved that car. So I had the Sentra and the Skyline at the same time for a duration of time, and you know, I'd get to go to shows and have those two cars as mine. Made me feel pretty cool, and you know, I was just really enjoying it. Through all of this, I was still dealing with massive anxiety, riddled with it, and I think cars gave me a chance to kind of escape at the end of the day, where it was a safe place for me, where it's a place that if I, you know, got the fight or flight kind of feeling that I could get out of a situation, it was my own little domain and safe spot, regardless of what was going on outside the world. So cars meant a huge part to me in my mental health aspect. And I got to meet some amazing people that are friends of mine to this day that I met through the car community, through message boards and things like that back in the day, car forums, which were a huge thing. So cars have been a huge part of my life, and modifying them. To this day, it's a huge part of my life. So after I had the R32, I ended up getting, so I had the R32, and then I bought my store. So at that time, I kind of had to make some decisions. I was like, do I need this car really? Is it useful to have as a daily driver? No. Right-hand drive cars are a pain to drive as it is, trying to turn left at lights. And I'm a car guy, so you can say otherwise, but everybody who has a right-hand drive car in North America knows that there's no benefit to having a right drive car. It's neat. The only people that are impressed by it, though, are other car guys. So unless you're trying, or girls. If you're trying to impress car people, great. Nobody else cares. They think it's weird. So as you can tell, there's a change of scenery. Battery died while I was out driving. It's been one of those days. So we'll pick it up now, back at home. I did not go out to the garage because it is freezing outside. So we'll pick it up where I was talking about the R32 and getting rid of that. Well, I had the R32. I always had a winter car. At the point in time when I sold it, I had a car referred to as the 18 Hundo, because it was an Acura Legend that I paid $1,800 for from a friend. Great car, did me well, and at some point one of the windows stopped working, which wasn't a big deal. Then the driver's side door stopped working, a little bit bigger of a deal, but I was able to give that to one of my friends who needed a winter car at that time, my buddy Jay Boss, who is also known on social media as JB Maff, who has built an amazing Volkswagen Golf and does tons of custom car stuff. So I gave that to him, and then I purchased my Chrysler 300. And I got to work on that pretty quickly as soon as I got it. I love big body sedans. I love the way they look slammed with big wheels. And so that's what I did. Slammed it on BC Racing coilovers, and I did every bolt-on, exhaust, intake, stuff like that. I I even did some custom work on the engine as well to give it a little bit more oomph because it was a V6. Lots of sets of wheels on that as well. My favorite were a 20 by 10.5 square setup that looked amazing, nice and fitted. Then I switched it up to 22s on it at another point. So I had lots of sets of wheels for that. Common theme with all my cars. I enjoyed that car a lot. It did well for me. And eventually I had that car until like 2015. And till I wasn't able to drive it anymore. July 1st of 2015, I found myself without an automobile and no longer able to drive. With that, I racked up a miraculous $6,000 worth of parking tickets. I know that sounds unbelievable, but it is completely true. I have the receipts to prove it. And yeah, so when you talk about alcoholics and addiction, like addicts, and the unmanageable aspect of my life, that was just one of them. The fact that I was able to somehow rack up that expense, that was tickets plus all their interest. Those 90 tickets had increased in value to $6,000. So I wasn't able to drive. I had no way of paying off those tickets. I had to do some other legal stuff to be able to drive anyways. So long story short, I was not able to drive. 2015, here I am. The thing I love doing, getting out with my friends, modifying cars, I am now no longer able to do. And it was by my own doing. Nobody else did this to me. So I don't need sympathy. So there I was. That's what, I started riding a bike every day. That was my only way to get to work and to get around. Did that for a few months, and then that September of 2016, ended up getting sober and started to turn my life around. And I had some goals, and one of those things was to get back behind the wheel again. So I worked really hard, and it took me some time, and it was about late 2017. I was able to purchase a car. I did not yet have my tickets paid off, but I was working towards that. I was able to purchase a car. I bought a Lexus GS400, and I bought coilovers for it and wheels. And before I was able to put it on the road, when we put it up on the hoist, realized the whole bottom was rotted out of it. So that car went to the junkyard. I sold off all the parts for it. But that was one of my dream cars. I love big body, like I said, big body sedans. I was super hyped to get that, but it just wasn't meant to be. And it was kind of saved me actually in the end. A couple months later, I was able to pay off my tickets, get my driver's license back, and I bought a BMW E36 Coupe. And perfect car for me to get back out there, put coilovers on it, wheels as per usual. It was automatic, so this thing was slow. It was a BMW 318 IS, so it was slow as anything. And but it was great. Got me back out on the road. It was lots of fun. Made lots of modifications to that. And then I was out one day looking on the internet and stuff like that. I'm always looking at car parts and cars and stuff like that. And I saw this Mercedes pop up. And I was like, oh man, that's a compressor. Then I realized it wasn't. And I just figured, what the heck, I'll go have a look at it. Went out, had a look at it. The car looked to be in great shape. Made the guy an offer, and he took it. And it was a deal I couldn't refuse, so I bought it. And got that home. And now I had to sell the BMW, which was fine, got rid of that. And then I started digging into the Mercedes. Like I said earlier, there was a pretty rare car. It's a C320, so a 3.2 liter V6, 6-speed manual. That's what I really wanted, was something manual for a little sports car. Rear wheel drive, just a ton of fun. Got to work on it right away. Coilovers, wheels, changed up the air filters. There's not a lot of aftermarket support for the BMW market for some reason, especially this car. So I did a lot of custom stuff, and then I added like a rear lip spoiler, full lip kit on it, lots of different stuff. One of my favorite parts that I've done to it is the StimTech air vents on the hood. So that's a fully functional hood vent. Its purpose is to reduce heat soak on the engine. So these engines are notorious for heat soak. What that means is that it creates so much heat under the hood and has nowhere to escape to, that it actually allows the motor heats up and doesn't perform as well as it could be. So by cutting this big hole in the hood, putting these vents, now the engine performs much better. So I've really enjoyed this car. It's brought me so much fun to be back out on the road. I feel like I'll keep this car forever. It will always be changing and evolving. But it's one of those cars I just can't justify getting rid of. It does feel like a pretty unique car, and it's the first car that I've really felt like I'm back on the scene with it. I know it's not everybody's favorite, but it is mine. I love it. And I don't do anything with cars for anybody else's likes or dislikes. It's 100% for me. I've always done my cars for me, and I will continue to do that. And so that kind of brings us up to speed to where we're at today. Now I also have the E60. Like I mentioned, it's going to be a little bit lower wheels. There'll be some slight modifications, but I'm going to keep it for most part stock. This car is never going to be super fast. It never has had the potential to with the size of motor it has and stuff like that. And it's a great daily car. I'm super happy with it. It's low kilometer, and I'll keep this for a long time. And yeah, and that's where I'm at. And I'm always looking for new stuff, always looking for new parts, stuff like that. I'm so grateful that a lot of my friends that I grew up with in the skateboard and snowboard industry are into cars today. So some of my best friends today are custom car modifiers and have the ability to fabricate and things like that. I've built some amazing connections through the car industry, and I have some great shops that I work with. And like I have Donmar Custom that's done a lot of my exhaust work and just general repair to my car on stuff that I can't do myself. Stripping Tech has done a bunch of stuff for me. Yeah, just numerous people. I couldn't list them all, but I like to use a lot of different shops just to kind of support the whole scene. And then, like I said, my friends and I do a bunch of stuff just on our own. We have the ability, luckily, to do that with the different tools and hoists at home. Yeah, it's been a really good experience to be back at it. Driving is one of those things for me, just like being on a bike, that allows me to get out of my head, get out there, and just kind of hit the open road. As I get older, I really believe like that Sunday drive thing and why people do that, especially when you have a car that you're really proud of and that you've put a lot of work into, that may turn heads for the wrong reason to some people, and for others that just see it and are like, whoa, what is that? It feels good to get like that kind of subtle, like that quick attention. And it may sound weird to say that, but it's fun because people want to talk about it. I love talking about cars. So it's nice just to have something that I can be proud of today, that I earned and I worked hard. And it's just kind of a symbol of how far I've been able to come in just 4 years. As I filmed this video, it's given me a chance to reflect on how far I've been able to come over the past few years since I found recovery. In the span of 4 years, I was able to pay off $6,000 in parking tickets plus all my fines and things like that, get a few cars, lots of sets of wheels, rebuild relationships, make new friends, find new passions like photography and making videos. And I owe this all simply to saying yes when everything inside of me said no. I took an opportunity that was given to me to get help when I needed it. And that opportunity has now afforded me this life today. I believe had I said no when I was given that chance to go to treatment, I wouldn't be here today. And I don't mean I wouldn't be here filming this video. I don't think I'd be alive. There's a lot of people that would vouch for that. And because I said yes in the most scary moment of my life, I get to live this amazing, fun, excitement-filled life. And I used to think that like money would solve everything and money could buy me happiness. Money can buy you excitement. Money cannot buy you happiness. I guarantee you that. Money can buy fun, but it can't buy happiness. Fun and happiness are two very different things. And today I'm happy and I get to have fun. And I owe that all to changing my life for a positive and never settling. I always want, in every aspect of my life, to continue to level up. I want to grow, I want to evolve, and I want to be the best person I can possibly be. Whether that's in relationships, work, health, spirituality, whatever it may be, I want to keep stepping it up. I don't want to rest on my laurels. I don't want to rest on my accomplishments. Lord knows I've got enough negative things that have happened in the past that I don't want to rest on those. So I want to keep pushing myself every day. No different with my cars, whether it's snowboarding, whatever it may be. Every day is an opportunity for me to do my best and just step it up one more level. So thank you everybody for taking this opportunity to watch my video. It means the world to me. I can't believe I've got over 100 subscribers now, which is amazing. I never thought that possible because when I started this, I started it just out of the blue because I had been thinking about doing it. It's like the universe was knocking and I had to answer, so I did it. And look where we are today. Over 100 subscribers in just over a month. And views just keep growing. It's amazing. I'm excited to see what happens next. Thank you everybody so much. I hope everybody has an amazing day. This is No Bad Days. I'm Ryan. Take care.